You want to learn how to make melodies for LUH TYLER or VEEZE WIZH. I'm gonna break this melody in front of me down and show you what this style is made out of. So I'll start off with this preset called Emotive Pickups out of Analog Lab 5. You can use any smoove key, they will pretty much all sound good. I like to start off with some chords on the keyboard, just random chords. The dynamics isn't everything that makes a piano sound realistic. It's also the timing and the strum, and it can't be linear. Like everyone linearly strums it, but in reality, the high notes can be played earlier than the low notes, and it happens. That's the way a strum works on a real piano. And then I just rearrange the notes in Ableton and put them in the right scale and make it into a chord progression that actually sounds good and is not off scale. I'm gonna simplify these chords a little bit just so I can show you what it is made up. Anyways. We started off with a G minor, but then add a 7th note, which makes it into a minor 7th chord. That sounds like this. Then I have a 2nd chord, which is an I don't really know what this chord is. The 2nd chord is a very R&B-ish chord because some of the notes are out of the scale, but it adds a cool little tension and doesn't actually sound out of scale. This is like a G flat major flat 5, I think. So it's really hard to explain what is actually going on, but that's why I play on the keyboard. I play chords that I hear could fit in my chord progression, but that I didn't know of in the past, just because I haven't studied advanced music theory. Second time around, we're not just duplicating the chords, we have a slightly different chord. I basically copied these over, I transposed them and inverted them, so now we have like a new chord progression. It's actually a diminished chord, which means that our 7th note is cut flat into our chord, so it actually downs 1/2 note. Same thing here, I have the root note delayed an octave higher just to get a little bit of a melody in there already. And then the 4th chord is a simple G minor 7th. And then the last chord is just a regular D minor 7. Now we're not done here. The second time around, I basically pitched this whole chord progression 1 octave up. This really helps to spice up the whole sample and make it more versatile right from the get-go. To back these chords up, I picked my Marcus Miller bass and I played in some bass notes, just following the chord progression, nothing major. I let the snares just ring a little bit out so that we have a very organic feeling and it doesn't feel like we use the VST for the bass. To round this sound off even more and make it sound really vintage, I use the stock Ableton EQ to make your bass sound vintage. It's literally what it says. I have a compressor which preserves the punchiness, and then we have a saturator and a bass guitar, basically overdrive. It's like a distortion, a type of distortion, not really an overdrive, and I just mess with the EQ a little bit. And it's only at 2% wet, so it's really subtle because I don't like how the Ableton distortions often go overdrive right from the get-go. I want it to sound really subtle. So that's it for the amp emulation. Right after that, I wanted to get some more variations from instruments I didn't actually own. So I went into arcade, which arcade is always a great way to explore new kinds of productions. The only problem is that it's quite obvious that everyone uses this, so you gotta be careful and really try to mask the sounds up. But I just went with a loop pack. It's called Exploration. It's from the Honey Bank. I probably changed all of these parameters just so I can get a little bit more original right from the get-go and, you know, stick out. And I just played on the piano and found loops that I liked. The loop is basically starting a little bit earlier than the actual count in our Ableton, so we need to cut it short just a little bit so that it doesn't loop. Voila, now it's looping cleanly and it just stops right there. I'm gonna have to export this loop again and send it out again after this. Damn. As you can hear, the 2nd note, this E note right here, was some subtle percussion. There were actually some bongos in there. So that inspired me for a step further, which we're gonna explore in a bit. But first, let's listen to this note right here. But the problem was that the melody was quite specific, so it didn't match my chords. Now, what you have to do is you don't have to play by the rules of arcade. So what I did is I freezed it out, sampled it into another track. I basically spread out these notes because in the sample of arcade, they're way more frequent and I didn't want to put a half time on it. So I literally froze it out and spread the right melodies that fitted my chords throughout the sample so that I could do it a little bit more tastefully and mindfully. In case I wanted to change something, I always keep these notes deactivated because that way they don't play, but you still know where you grabbed the sample from in your project, which is really important when someone asks for like a little variation of the sample. And then as you could hear in the arcade, we also had some subtle percussion, but I thought, you know what, this needed to be more rhythmical because it really fitted the sample, and I got like a bongo sample. Mind you, we are working in 177, which is a great BPM for LUH TYLER since the drums are often very bouncy and the faster BPMs suit these beats better. I had this sample, but it was real slow, so I sped it up by a lot to fit my BPM, and then we get this. I really hope you enjoyed. Please check the description to save some money. I have BeatStars coupon codes, Scorch coupon codes. You can also get Arcade for free for 1 month. Coupon codes for everything I love. Make sure to check these deals out. Thank you for watching.